Yes. Hey there, Andre. How you guys doing? Garcia. It's me, Alex, your bro-in-law, and after about hour 40 of a fever, I decided I'm gonna go ask some questions, answer some questions. Brought to you by Andre Martinez. I will recite the questions, blah blah blah, and give my answers. All right. So, question one: Is role-playing gaming a lifestyle or a pastime for you? I would say role-playing games in specific is more of a pastime. I am more into playing games for friends, for uh, bonding time. Kind of like how people could say like baseball could be a lifestyle or a pastime when really a lot of people do it because of going through the motions and also they get paid millions of dollars, but I'm talking about the non-professional people. It's more of a of nostalgia for something great that they used to be a part of, things like that. For me, like I said, it's more in the pastime sense because it's just I can play games with anything in terms of variance, and it doesn't have to be specific to the classification of role playing games. At least the classification that we know today, because you know my issues on that one. But what aspect of role playing gaming do you think is lacking attention? The thing that's most important to me is, at least that I feel is lacking, is real imagination. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of the people who complain about certain systems are complaining because they're not really using their imagination. Like the biggest pet peeve of mine was when people say like, "Oh, I can't play like D&D because my character, I don't like it because my character, I'm supposed to envision him being a super badass, but I keep failing die roll after die roll for my choice." Well, when you fail a die roll, it doesn't mean, that you are incompetent. It just means that the sequence of events that occurred during that event led you to not completing your task. Yes, it's considered a failure, but there are many ways to make a failure look like it wasn't entirely due to your character being, incompetent, as they say. I remember that's been like the biggest thing that I've gotten used to over the years, and that's something that because I didn't have a reference point in terms of veteran RPGers telling me how to play games, it's something that I learned that I think is crucial to role playing games in general. Just like take a class. I remember people would always complain about classes like the thief, the warrior, or you start fire, all that kind of stuff, and how they can't have a specific character they would like. Well, like for those two specific examples, I did that with an Eberron campaign where I was playing as a dwarf thief, and yes, I had all the thief abilities, but I called my character a Spymaster, and he's level one, and he's a dwarf, and he had 7 charisma. Yet he was supposed to be doing spy stuff. The idea was that it was more along the lines of shoot, if you guys remember, it's that TV show. I think it's like Get Smart. Where the guy is a spy and he just kind of either through the luckiest die rolls in script writing ever, or just happens to stumble upon doing the things in the correct order, but is a total buffoon. And the idea with the dwarf was that he was a complete hard ass to the point where like I had him chastise an NPC for not following protocol properly in terms of in the spy world, for thieves. That's how much of in terms of a professional the person was, um, but failed utterly against fighting a warforge. And the way that I depicted was all I had was a sap. In terms of like for a blunt instrument, all I had was a sap to fight that thing. And so it's like, yeah, I'm beating the shit out of it. but it's a sap, so it's not really doing that much damage. So it's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of creativity. To go back to the point there was that its imagination is the hugest thing that I think is lacking in books in terms of describing how to actually use your thoughts. Um, Number three is, are you going to buy the new D&D Next and its miniatures from Wiz Kids? I will eventually buy the miniatures because I love minis and I like to represent them, in terms of have little figures on the map. I mean, I have Mage Knight, figures already because they look cool. But overall, I'm not going to buy them right away because I am known as a cheapskate. And so I'd rather wait for them to be discontinued and get them on the cheap, like I did with all my Star Wars figures and stuff like that. D&D Next, I have played D&D Next. I like it, um, mainly because it allows for more class, customization in terms of specific traits you want to do. Like with third edition, second edition, first edition, basic, it was yeah, you could customize what you wanted to do, but it was more of customize off your character sheet. Like I was saying, in terms of using actual imagination instead of having the game decide all your imagination for you. With fourth edition, with D&D Next, the fifth edition or whatever, there's a little bit more customization in terms of what specific tags you add to your character concept. So it ends up becoming something more worthwhile. Again, I'm not going to buy it right away because cheap, but it will be something that will eventually I will eventually buy and use for rules. Okay, what games would you like to see played out in actual play? Well, in terms of actual games, nothing really, um, because I just need there to be good actual plays. I mean, I've uploaded some I think that are decent, but that's because we usually keep on the ball when we're recording because we're having a game designer listen to our stuff. So it's like if they're going to be bored, they're probably not going to learn anything, that kind of stuff. So we try to keep it entertaining. When people do actual plays, a lot of times it's just let's record whatever we decide to play up for a few hours and just post it up and then call it good. And then it turns out to be shit because most role playing game sessions are shit in terms of boring and waste of time. And that's another thing that should be fixed in terms of actually making it a interesting. I make fun of people all the time who use interesting as a qualifier, but who to make interesting actual game sessions that are pace and can actually keep going. It's why I typically follow the the pulp serial model when it comes to running games, where it's like, let's go for about maybe 2 hours at best, and then call it good. But just keep the pace up, keep it compelling, keep it the actions going forward, and none of this stuff of let's spend 15 minutes talking about the next combat action we're going to do that will resolve itself in supposedly 6 seconds if you use the D&D model. And so yeah, I'm totally looking forward for any actual plays as long as they are actually good, and that's the most important part. And then number 5, have you tried a diceless game, or would you try one if it was proposed to you? Now, I have not tried a diceless game based on the definition of a diceless game, because there are many. A diceless game means there are no randomizers, which means very few people have actually played diceless games in the sense of no randomizers. I don't look forward to doing a diceless game because it is the randomizers that I enjoy in terms of did I really succeed? Did I really fail in terms of my character? And which ways can I bend the narrative to accept the reason I succeeded or the reason I failed? Because those seem to always be the coolest moments where um, when I was playing the character, Todd Stone fighting that gigantic stag beetle, and I decided to run up and do melee attacks, and I critted twice or something like that during like the 3 rounds of combat where I did unarmed damage, and the creature did a critical miss twice in a row as well, almost a third time I think before it died, and just the narrative that came off of those rolls were compelling enough to go like, oh, in my character story, this is a sign of his faith in action. Where he is blessed by the moment because he would have easily been killed with just by one attack because he had 4 health at the time, and that monster did like 3d4 or something like that. I think you told us, but yeah, it's the narrative that comes from the randomizer, that comes from not me, telling you guys how cool my story is. The cool story bro moments. So I'll try it, of course. I don't think it's going to be good. Um, yeah, and that's really about it. Because I mean, I've tried a LARP before, not like, and that was really boring to me. So I mean, I guess I've tried a diceless system because the LARP I tried was a diceless system. It was a homebrew that a guy set up, and it was just like, okay, cool story. You know, that's great. You tweaked your character to no one's business, so that way you can really focus your rock on all 3 sections of the game. Because I noticed that's usually what happens is if there's no modifier, it's all about optimization, and I don't I don't really need that for a game that's supposedly be a mixture of game and narrative, but mostly narrative. So yeah, that's my long-winded talk about it. If you have any other things you wanted to ask, feel free. See you later.